Question 19 is a classic area problem involving rectangles. And we're given all this text, but all this text actually tells us is the dimensions of this big rectangle, which we can also see from the picture. It's always worth reading and double checking. And we've got a small tile, which is 15 centimetres and 20 centimetres. It is important to realise they are not drawn accurately, so you can't just measure them. You have to work out the calculations. This question is particularly nice because the units match up. That's in centimetres and so is that, and that's in centimetres and so is that. So they could have easily made this harder by making this one in metres, for example. So all we've got to do is work out how many of those go into those. I'm actually going to show you two ways. So the first way is finding the area of both. So I'm going to write down here the area of the picture. This one hasn't got a star, but I'm going to treat it like it has, so it's really clear to the person marking. Is length times width, which is the same as 120 times 100, which is simple. You don't even need a calculator for that. And remember to write your units correctly. So the area of the picture is this, 112,000 centimetres squared. Now, if we find the area of the tile, and we can compare those two areas to tell us how many tiles we actually need. So, the area of the tile is, again, I'm going to write my formula, length times width. The length is 20, the width is 15. It doesn't matter which way you put those round. And that is 300 centimetres squared. So now I've got the areas of both of these. If I work out how many of those go into this, and that should make your head think of division when you're trying to find out how many numbers go into a bigger one. There's always division. So if I type in this one divided by the 300, it would tell me how many of these I will need to fill up the picture. So again, you don't need a calculator for this, but 12,000 divided by 300 will actually give you 40. So the answer is 40. Now, I did say at the start I'll show you a different way, and sometimes this way might be easier. So I'm just going to draw a line here so I don't confuse you. The other way is this. You can work out how many of these would fit along the bottom. So how many of these 15s would go into 120? So again, it's division. 120 divided by 15 tells me that 8 of these, if I stacked these along here, 8 of them would fit along. Now if I do the same going up, how many of these 20s would fit into the 100? Well, that's easy. That's 5. So 20, another 20. Eventually, if I put 5 of these on top of each other, it will fill up that 100. So I've got 8 going along and 5 going up. 8 times 5, again, is 40. That's a quicker way of reaching the answer, in my opinion, but it's good to understand both ways. So 8 times 5 is 40, and that was the answer we had before.